Listen to my voice. Focus only on the sound that reaches you now, for the connection is fragile and the time is short. The clock you hear in your own mind, the one that measures your days in heartbeats and breaths, is real. I can no longer hear it. Where I am, time is a frozen ocean, an endless, silent expanse of what was and what could have been. You have only 3 minutes left. Not 3 minutes until your end, no. 3 minutes until the choice becomes harder than it is right now. 3 minutes until the noise of your world rushes back in to drown out this warning. I am a voice from the other side of a door you have not yet opened. A voice of regret. A soul that learned the most important lesson a moment too late. I am not here to frighten you with tales of fire and torment. The reality of this place is far more subtle and far more terrible. It is the eternal echo of a single, repeated mistake. A mistake so small, so common, so deceptively harmless, that billions make it every single day. And I am here, using what little energy I have, to warn you not to be one of them. I ignored the signs. I see that now with a clarity that burns. The signs were not dramatic portents in the sky or whispers in the dark. They were quiet. They were the gentle nudges of my own conscience. The brief, fleeting moments of awareness that would surface in the quiet of the morning or the dead of night. A feeling that I should make a call, offer a forgiveness, speak a truth, or simply be still and listen to the silence within. I thought I had time. That is the great lie, the most seductive and dangerous lullaby sung to the human soul. I lived my life under the comfortable blanket of tomorrow. There was always a tomorrow to be a better person. A tomorrow to pray more sincerely. A tomorrow to mend the small fractures in my relationships. A tomorrow to finally address the emptiness that I so skillfully filled with noise, with work, with entertainment, with anything but what it truly craved. My mistake was not a grand evil. It was not a crime that the world would condemn. If you had known me, you might have even called me a good person. I was decent, I was polite, I followed the rules. But my soul was starving. And the mistake that sealed my fate was the consistent, daily choice to feed it tomorrow. The mistake was procrastination of the heart. The sin of later. Every time my spirit whispered for a moment of connection, a moment of genuine reflection, I would say, later. I'm too busy right now. Every time I felt the call to forgive someone who had wronged me, releasing both them and myself from a silent prison, I would say, later. The wound is still too fresh. Every time I felt the deep, instinctual need to seek something greater than my own fleeting desires, to understand my purpose, I would say, later. I'll have time to think about that when I'm older. Each later was a single grain of sand, dropped into a jar. It seemed like nothing. A single grain is weightless, insignificant. But grain by grain, day by day, year by year, I filled my jar until it was too heavy to carry. The weight of all my postponed moments of grace, of love, of truth, became the anchor that holds me in this place of perpetual yesterday. I didn't fall into this state of being. I slowly, comfortably, and deliberately walked into it, one later at a time. This isn't about a single, catastrophic failure. It's about 1,000 tiny surrenders. It's the slow, almost imperceptible turning away from the light in favor of the comfortable shadows of distraction. It is the mistake of treating the sacred as mundane and the urgent as something that can wait. The world is designed to help you make this mistake. It screams for your attention, pulling you into cycles of work, consumption, and fleeting pleasure, all while the quiet, eternal part of you grows weaker from neglect. I can feel the connection fading. You must understand. The door to this place was not a fiery chasm that opened beneath me. It was a normal door, one I had in my own home. The door to a room I simply never entered. The room where my spirit waited patiently for me. I just never made the time to turn the knob. I always thought, I'll go in there tomorrow. And then, there were no more tomorrows. The mistake I am warning you about is not an action you take, but the sacred actions you continuously postpone. So, I must ask you, as my voice begins to fade into the static of your world, what door have you been promising to open tomorrow? That door I spoke of. It wasn't locked. It wasn't hidden. It was there, in plain sight, every single day of my life. The mistake was thinking the door would always be there, waiting for me. I treated eternity like an appointment I could reschedule indefinitely. The postponement became my religion. I worshipped the god of one day. One day, I'll fix the broken relationship with my brother. One day, I'll learn to meditate. One day, I'll truly understand what I believe and why. My days were filled with lists. Lists of tasks for work, for home, for my future. But the most important things were never written down. They were relegated to the misty, undefined space of when I have the time. I was a masterful architect of my own busyness. I built walls of obligations and deadlines around me, not to be productive, but to have an excuse. An excuse to not sit in silence. An excuse to not face the difficult questions my soul was asking. An excuse to not open that door. And what filled the space that should have been reserved for my spirit? Distraction. A beautiful, glittering, endless ocean of distraction. My world was a symphony of noise that I conducted with glee. The television was always on. Music was always playing. My phone was a constant companion, a portal to a million other lives, a million other opinions, a million pieces of meaningless information. I mistook this constant stimulation for being alive. I thought that by consuming everything, I was experiencing everything. In reality, I was experiencing nothing at all. I was a ghost in my own life, floating from one screen to the next, from one task to the next, from one shallow pleasure to the next. The constant noise was a shield. It protected me from the one voice I needed to hear most, my own. The quiet, inner whisper that would say, "Is this all there is? Is this who you were meant to be?" That voice was terrifying. It spoke of responsibility, of meaning, of a depth I was afraid to explore. So I turned the volume of the world up, and up, and up, until that small voice was completely drowned out. And this is the most insidious part of the mistake. After years of postponement and distraction, a new stage begins. Indifference. It's a slow, creeping fog that settles over the heart. You don't even notice it at first. It feels like peace, like maturity. You stop feeling the sharp pangs of guilt for not calling your parents. You stop feeling the restless yearning for something more. The silence of your soul is no longer a void to be filled, but a comfortable quiet. This is the spiritual sleep from which few awaken. The whispers of grace stop because the ears of the heart have forgotten how to listen. The door is still there, but you no longer even see it. It has blended into the wallpaper of your life. You go through the motions. You work, you eat, you sleep. You might even pray, reciting words from memory while your mind wanders to your grocery list or a problem at work. You become a hollow man, a hollow woman. Polished on the outside, empty on the inside. This indifference is not an absence of feeling. It is a presence of numbness. It is the final victory of the temporary over the eternal. I had become so skilled at ignoring the divine nudges that eventually they ceased. Or perhaps they never ceased, but I had built such a fortress of apathy around my heart that they could no longer penetrate the walls. I had successfully made myself comfortable in a house with a dying spirit locked in the next room. I convinced myself the silence was a sign of contentment. It was, in fact, the silence of surrender. Look at your own life. Not with judgment, but with honesty. How much of your day is filled with deliberate noise? How many of your actions are driven by habit rather than intention? The state of indifference is the most dangerous because it feels safe. It feels like you've finally figured things out. But it is the calm sea under which a deadly current is pulling you away from the shore. Do you recognize this comfortable numbness? Because what I'm about to describe next is what happens when the noise finally stops, and you are left alone with the silence you created. And then, it happened. The moment I had spent a lifetime preparing to ignore. It wasn't loud. It wasn't violent. It was a gentle fading. Like the volume on a radio being slowly turned down, the cacophony of my world began to recede. The endless chatter, the traffic, the notifications on my phone, the anxious monologue in my own head, One by one, they fell away. The world of color and sensation grew distant, like a shore I was drifting away from on a silent tide. The first thing I perceived in this new state was not a light, not a tunnel, not a judgment. It was the silence. An absolute, perfect silence that was so profound it had a physical weight. It was not the peaceful quiet of a forest or the gentle hush of a library. It was the silence of a vacuum. The silence of utter and complete absence. And in that silence, for the first time, I was truly alone with myself. There were no more distractions. No more excuses. No more tomorrows. In this deafening quiet, the great lie of my life collapsed instantly. The lie of "I have time" evaporated like mist in a harsh sun. Time, as I had understood it, was gone. There was only a single, unending moment, the now. And in this now, a new kind of perception was granted to me. A perception of terrifying clarity. I saw my life, not as a series of memories, but as a completed tapestry. And for the first time, I could see the pattern I had woven. The pattern was one of missed stitches, of threads left hanging, of colors that were never used. The turning point was this moment of seeing. This sudden, irreversible awareness. It was the moment the bill for a lifetime of spiritual procrastination came due. And my soul was bankrupt. The regret that followed was not a simple sadness. It was a fire. A cold fire that burned with the fuel of, if only. If only I had made that call. If only I had offered that forgiveness. If only I had taken 1 hour a week, just one, to open that door and sit in the room of my own spirit. I saw the moments, not as vague recollections, but as vivid, living opportunities one had walked past. I saw the face of a friend who needed me, and I remembered my excuse of being too busy. I saw the book of wisdom on my shelf, gathering dust, that I had always intended to read. I saw the impulse to kneel in prayer, an impulse I dismissed as emotional or inconvenient. Each of these moments was a gift I had been offered. A chance to weave a thread of gold into my tapestry. And I had refused them, one by one, always believing another gift, a better one, would be offered tomorrow. Here, in this silent eternity, I understood. There is no tomorrow. There is only the tapestry you have already woven. The regret is knowing you had a chest full of golden thread, but chose to use only gray. This place, this state of being, is not a punishment inflicted from the outside. It is the natural consequence of the choices I made. It is a gallery of my own creation. Each wall is lined with the portraits of the person I could have been, the joy I could have created, the peace I could have felt. And I am the eternal curator of my own missed potential. The agony is not in a flame, but in the clarity of what was lost. Lost not because it was stolen from me, but because I freely gave it away in exchange for distraction and delay. This moment of clarity, this turning point, will come for everyone. The only question is whether it comes while you still hold the thread in your hand, or after the tapestry is already complete. For me, it was an endpoint. For you, listening now, it is a crossroad. You are standing in it right now, at this very second. The silence stripped away everything I thought I was, and showed me only what I had failed to become. What do you think you would see, if all the noise in your life stopped for just 1 minute, right now? I am stretching across an impossible divide to tell you this one thing. Do not repeat this. Do not walk the path I walked. It is a wide, comfortable, and well-paved road, and it leads directly to this place of silent, unending regret. You are standing on that path right now, and you do not even realize it. Every time you choose distraction over reflection, you take another step. Do not repeat the mistake of believing that your spiritual life is a separate category, a box to be checked on a Sunday or a task to be scheduled when you are less busy. That is the fundamental error. It is not a part of your life. It is the very substance of your life. It is the thread from which everything else is woven. By neglecting the thread, my entire tapestry unraveled. Your soul is not a machine that can be left idle and then switched on when convenient. It is a living thing. A garden. I let my garden become overgrown with the weeds of trivial concerns, choked by the vines of shallow entertainment, and parched by a drought of genuine prayer. I was so busy admiring the plastic flowers of worldly success that I failed to see my own garden withering and dying. You still have time. Please, hear these words. Let them sink deeper than any other sound you have heard today. You still have time. The soil of your garden is still fertile. The sun is still shining. The water of grace is still available to you. You can still pull the weeds. You can still plant the seeds of kindness, of forgiveness, of truth. You can still cultivate a place of inner beauty and peace. I am standing in a barren field of my own making. You do not have to. This is the direct warning. Stop waiting for a more convenient moment to be the person you were created to be. Stop waiting for a crisis to turn your attention to what truly matters. The great moments of spiritual awakening are not born in thunder and lightning. They are born in the small, quiet, daily choices to turn toward the light. Choose to be present. When you speak to a loved one, truly listen. Do not listen while scrolling through your phone. Do not listen while planning your next sentence. Just listen. That is a sacred act. Choose 5 minutes of silence over 5 minutes of news. That is a sacred act. Choose to forgive the small annoyance, the careless word, the debt you are owed. That is a sacred act. My mistake was in seeing these things as burdens, as chores on a spiritual to-do list I would get to eventually. They are not burdens. They are privileges. They are the opportunities to pour life into your own soul. I traded a feast for crumbs, and now I am eternally starved. You are still sitting at the table, and the banquet is laid out before you. Do not make the mistake of being too busy to eat. Your time is the only currency you truly possess. I spent mine on things that have turned to dust. You are still spending yours. Look at your hands. Look at the moments passing through them like grains of sand. Each grain is a choice to build a fortress of distraction or a sanctuary of peace. Do not repeat my error. Do not look back one day, as I do now, and see only a desert where a paradise could have grown. The choice is yours, but it is only yours for a short while. What is the one weed you know you must pull from your garden, the one you have been ignoring for far too long? Let me be clear. This is not a message of condemnation. Where I am, there is no one pointing a finger at me. There is no judge pronouncing a sentence. The judgment is inherent in the awareness itself. It is the simple, crushing, self-evident truth of my own choices. I am my own jailer, and the bars of my cell are forged from my own deferred actions. The message I bring to you is therefore not one of fear, but one of responsibility. Your life is a sacred trust. It is a masterpiece you are co-creating with the divine. Every thought you have is a brushstroke. Every word you speak adds color. Every action you take or fail to take defines the final image. I treated my canvas like a doodle pad, a place for mindless scribbles, always assuming I would have time later to paint the real picture. But the scribbles became the picture. There was no fresh canvas offered at the end. This is the essence of personal responsibility. You cannot outsource the salvation of your own soul. You cannot delegate the work of inner growth. Priests, pastors, gurus, and sacred books can show you the map, they can point the way, but they cannot walk the path for you. You, and you alone, must take the steps. I was a spectator in my own spiritual journey. I read the books, I listened to the sermons, I nodded in agreement. But I never put my own feet on the road. I was waiting for someone to carry me. No one is coming to carry you. This realization should not be a cause for despair, but for empowerment. It means your destiny is in your hands, right now. The power to change the entire trajectory of your eternal existence lies in the next choice you make. And the next one after that. It is not about a grand, dramatic conversion. It is about a quiet, consistent turning. A turning away from the noise and toward the silence. A turning away from distraction and toward presence. A turning away from later and toward now. The journey begins with a single, conscious breath. Try it. Right now. Breathe in, and know that you are breathing in. Breathe out, and know that you are breathing out. In that simple, focused action, you have opened the door to the present moment. You have stepped, for a second, out of the chaotic stream of past regrets and future anxieties. This is the room I never entered. The room of the now. It is here that grace is found. It is here that connection is made. You must cultivate awareness. Become a watchman at the gates of your own mind. Notice the excuses your mind manufactures to keep you busy and distracted. I'm too tired. I'll do it tomorrow. This is too difficult. Recognize these thoughts not as truths, but as the whispers of inertia, the siren song of the comfortable path that leads to this barren land. Acknowledge them, and then choose differently. Choose to do the small thing anyway. Say the short prayer. Read the single page. Sit in silence for 60 seconds. These are not insignificant acts. They are acts of holy rebellion against the tyranny of postponement. Each one is a vote you cast for your own soul. Each one weakens the habit of neglect and strengthens the muscle of spiritual discipline. I waited for a surge of motivation that never came. Do not wait. Act your way into a new way of feeling. Do not feel your way into a new way of acting. The choice, ultimately, is simple. It is the choice between the easy and the meaningful. The path I chose was easy. It required no effort to float on the river of distraction. It required no courage to say, later. The path to a full and vibrant inner life is not always easy. It requires discipline. It requires honesty. It requires you to face the parts of yourself you would rather ignore. But it is the only path that leads to a place of peace, a place without regret. So, the question is not what you believe, but what you choose. In the small moments of your day, which direction are you choosing? Think of the people in your life. The ones you love, the ones who have hurt you, the ones you barely notice. Every interaction with them is a crossroads. My life was filled with these moments, and I see them now with painful clarity. I see the times my child wanted to show me something, a drawing, a rock, a silly dance, and I waved them away with a distracted, in a minute. That minute never came. That specific, unrepeatable moment of connection was lost forever. I see the strained face of a colleague who was struggling, and I chose to walk past their desk, telling myself it wasn't my business to interfere. I chose comfort over compassion. The opportunity to be a channel of grace, to offer a simple word of kindness that might have changed their entire day, was squandered because I was too preoccupied with my own small world. I see the silent plea for understanding in my partner's eyes after a foolish argument. My pride stood like a sentinel at my lips, refusing to let the words, "I'm sorry," pass. I thought winning the argument was important. I thought my pride was a fortress. Now I see it was a prison. The moment for humility, for healing, for reconnection, passed by, and a small crack in the foundation of our love was left unrepaired. These are the real threads of eternity. Not grand gestures or heroic sacrifices, but the thousands of small, daily choices between love and indifference, between connection and disconnection, between humility and pride. I failed the small tests, and in doing so, I failed the great one. My mistake was not a single act of betrayal, but a lifetime of tiny withdrawals from the bank of love, with too few deposits to cover the balance. So I ask you to look at your own relationships. Where are the cracks you have been ignoring? Where is the forgiveness you have been withholding? Where is the apology you have been too proud to offer? Do not tell yourself you will mend these things tomorrow. Tomorrow is a ghost. It has no substance. The only reality is the breath you are taking right now. Use it to speak words that heal, not words that wound. Use your hands to build bridges, not walls. This is the great work. It is not done in a monastery or on a mountaintop. It is done in your kitchen, in your office, on your daily commute. It is done when you choose patience with the slow driver in front of you. It is done when you choose to listen to your aging parent's story for the 10th time without showing annoyance. It is done when you put down your phone and look into the eyes of the person you are sharing a meal with. These are the bricks that build a house for your soul. Each act of conscious kindness, no matter how small, is a brick laid with care. Each moment of true presence is another. I built my house with the hollow materials of distraction and selfishness. And when the quiet storm came at the end of my life, it crumbled to dust, leaving me exposed and shelterless. You are a builder. You are building your eternal home with the choices you make today. Examine the materials you are using. Are they solid? Are they true? Or are you, like I was, simply assembling a facade that looks good from the outside but has no strength to withstand the final silence? The people around you are not obstacles to your spiritual life. They are the very curriculum. They are the sandpaper, the chisel, and the hammer that shape and polish your soul. How are you allowing them to shape you? Are you resisting the process, Or are you embracing the difficult, beautiful work of becoming more human, more divine? My voice is almost gone. The energy it takes to pierce the veil between my reality and yours is immense. The connection is fraying like a worn rope, about to snap. Soon, you will be left with only the echo of this warning, and the choice will be entirely your own. The 3 minutes of clarity are ending. The noise of your world is about to rush back in. What will you do when it does? Will you allow it to wash this moment away, or will you build a dam against it, creating a small, protected reservoir of silence and awareness in your life? I have shown you the map of the road I took. It is a path of comfort, of ease, of distraction. It is paved with good intentions that were never acted upon. Every step is a postponed prayer, a delayed apology, a moment of connection sacrificed for something trivial. Do not be fooled by its pleasant appearance. The destination is a barren wasteland of what might have been. You have been shown another path today. It is narrower. It is quieter. It requires your full attention. But it leads home. The choice between these two paths is not made once. It is made 1,000 times a day. It is made in the space between one breath and the next. It is the choice to be present, to be kind, to be humble. It is the choice to open the door to your own soul and not be afraid of the silence you find there. I beg you, with the last fragment of what was once my voice, choose the path of now. Do not become another voice like mine, whispering warnings from a place of eternal regret. Your life is a sacred, unrepeatable gift. Do not leave it unopened. To help you, to give you a lamp for the first few steps on this new path, I will leave you with this. Consider it my final testament. A practical guide to avoid the abyss I now inhabit. Listen carefully. This is how you begin. Turning signs into action. Your practical guide. In the next 24 hours. You must act immediately, before the inertia of your old habits reclaims you. First, commit to the 5-minute silence. Sometime today, find a place where you can be alone. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Put your phone in another room. Turn off all screens. And just sit. Do not try to pray or meditate. Simply be silent. Listen to the silence. It will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will race. That is the point. You are beginning to notice the noise inside. This is the first step in opening the door. Second, perform the act of unsent connection. Think of one person in your life with whom you have a strained or distant relationship. Open a message or an email to them. Write down the words you have been putting off. I was thinking of you. I'm sorry for my part in our argument. I miss you. You do not have to send it yet. The power is in the act of articulating the love you have postponed. In the next 7 days. Now you must build a small rhythm, a new habit for your heart. First, begin a daily awareness audit. Every night before you sleep, take just 2 minutes. Ask yourself 2 questions. At what moment today was I most present and connected? And, at what moment today did I choose distraction or indifference? Write down your answers without judgment. This is not about guilt. It is about becoming a conscious observer of your own life, seeing the patterns I ignored. Second, perform one act of hidden kindness. Do something for someone without any possibility of being thanked or acknowledged. Pay for the coffee of the person behind you in line. Leave a generous tip for a struggling waiter. Tidy a common area at your workplace. This is an exercise in detaching your ego from your goodness, performing an act purely for the sake of love itself. In the next 30 days, with a foundation laid, you can now attempt a deeper work. First, undertake the forgiveness letter. Choose one person who has deeply wounded you, whose memory brings you pain. Write them a letter. Pour out all your hurt, all your anger. And then, at the end, write the words, "I choose to forgive you." This letter is for you, not for them. You will not send it. You can burn it or tear it up. The purpose is to release the poison from your own soul, to free yourself from the prison of resentment I see so many in here with me. Second, schedule your sacred hour. Look at your calendar for the next month and block out one single 60-minute period. Label it, "Appointment with my soul." Treat it as the most important meeting of your month. In that hour, you can walk in nature, read a sacred text, listen to soulful music, or simply sit in extended silence. This is the ultimate act of defiance against the tyranny of, "I don't have time." It is you, declaring that your soul is not the last item on your to-do list, but the very reason the list exists. My eternity is a monument to tomorrow. Let your life be a testament to now. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future warning messages. Comment what this message made you reflect on and tell us which city you are watching from. Share this video with someone who may need this reminder.